filing. Because if you're not filing, it's going to be difficult for the organization to run coherently. Né? So we need to always be able to file and file and file and file. So, introduction says the files of an organization is its memory. An organization could not survive without its records. Like I said, it's very important. Because everything that you do, you need to have evidence of it. Say maybe they want to come and check something, you need to be able to go and look for that particular document. So it's very important to organize your filing, and it's very important to file. However, when you go down, you realize that not everything deserves to be filed. Né? It's only important document and blah blah, but you will see when you go down. An organization stores all incoming correspondence. For an example, forms, faxes. We don't use faxes anymore, but back then they used faxes. Printouts, electronic mails, which is an email. And also, an organization stores an outgoing correspondence. So whatever that you also take out, whatever that you also send to other organizations, that also needs to be found. However, again, not everything, right? Okay. The storage process consists of the systematic classification and arrangement of documents to ensure an effective retrieval system. The needs of an organization will determine the system of the filing and storing. So this basically means what they store or file here, TNC, is not the same that they may file at FNB. Because these are two different organizations, right? What is FNB deems important, TNC may not deem it as important. So it depends on your organization. You might be working for different organizations, you're asking yourself, why here are they filing this, but where I used to work, they don't file it. It's because it's a different organization. Not everything for each organization is the same. Yes, when locating the file, decide whether filing will be done in a centralized or decentralized manner. What that means is, a centralized manner is when information is packed into one system. Everything that you're looking for that organization, you know you're going to find it into this one system. For example, like I told you the other time, I work in a school. So we have a system that is called SASense. Everything that you need to know about our school, you'll find it into that software, into that system that is called SASense. However, initially, it has its own disadvantages because if we all go in together at the same time, because the entire Gauteng, basically, the schools are using SASense. So when we go together, sometimes during the report season, when we go together, it gets cramped up, it gets slow, sometimes it crashes because so many people are accessing. However, as much as I'm saying it's the Gauteng system, but let's say someone from Kampana secondary school, they cannot access where I work, the information. It's just the system that is there, but once you are logging, you use your credentials rather, you're only going to access what the information of your school. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But that is a centralized information. So everything is being put rather in the same place. And then decentralized, it's basically different departments. Say for an example, finance, you've got, again at my school, we've got finance and we've got admission. I work with admission, there's a lady who works with finance. So when someone comes directly to me and say, I need something admission related, that is my department, that is my area. When someone says finance, that's her department, that's her area. Now that is decentralized, meaning every person has their own department and they each control, or for a lack of a better word, maintain their department. That does make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go. And I told you the other day, these definitions and the postal thoughts, read them, they also give you an in-depth of what's happening in this module. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to 1.1.1, record creation. When a client begins to correspond regularly with an organization, a separate file is open for the client. A file can be opened for each correspondence with 5 or more documents, depending on your storage. You either decide, oh, okay, this is Betty. My name is Betty. She's our client. She's been our client for the past maybe 2 years. She's our regular client. So in order for me to be able to access her file or her documents easily, let me just open the file for her. It's easy when I know that when Betty comes, I just go and we'll see when we left our last discussion at, right? So it's easier to open a file for regular clients. But then for a client that only comes once, maybe comes once after 10 years or after 5 years, it's much better just to put those documents into one place for those clients. Then you know these are the clients that maybe come after 3 years, after 4 years, then it's easy to also access. Are we together, guys?
Yes.
Okay. The person's name and initials are written on the new file as well as the topic of the correspondence. Like I said, it's easy to do that, right? And a label with the client's name on it will be attached to the protruding tab on the file. So this is the protruding tab. This is a file that we use at school for learners' application and learners' information. So it's easy when you have a tab like this, then you know that you are looking for Makwele. It's easy to access that. Unlike if you have this, now you have to open every file inside. That's not easy, man. I'm sure the aim is just to work smart, not hard again. So when you have your system like this, at my school we use, or every school we use alphabetical, but depending on where you work, you use chronological, meaning date. You know, you file by date, but others they sort by names, others, it depends. You'll see when you get there which one they prefer. Are we together, guys?
Yes.
Okay. The document with the latest date is always put on top or in front of the file. Like I said, it depends where you work. Yes, for other companies you use the date, but for others they prefer alphabetical order. Like in the medical system, they use alphabetical because it's easy to do that. Or they use file numbers, you know, and also file numbers are done chronologically. So it's also easy to do that. Okay, let's go to, before I move to the next topic, do we have any questions thus far? We're good? Okay. How's my 15 minutes doing? Do I still have time? Okay, let's go to 1.1.2, insinuating security measures. As a safety measure, passwords are given to computer information system and confidential files are locked away in a separate cabinet. You are dealing with confidential information, right? You are dealing with very sensitive information. If you'll be working in a medical field, you know that as a client or as a patient, I'm not allowed to see someone else's document or file or whatever. So you need to make sure that every time you take your files, you lock them away. If you are using a system, like I'm saying at my workplace, we use a system, you need to make sure that you got your credentials. You need to make sure that every time when you get into the system, no one can see your password, no one can see your username. That is very important. Right, guys?
Yes.
Okay. The original or legal and other important documents is filed away in a fireproof cabinet or safe. So again, depending on the importance of the documents, there are those that are locked away in a fireproof cabinet. It explains itself, fireproof, meaning even if there's fire, it's not going to burn. That's how important the documents are, and normally those documents cannot be reproduced. Hence, they are in a fire cable still normally, or a safe room at our workplace. We have a safe room, it cannot burn. So we put all our equipment and all our files in there. We know that even if the school burns down, everything is safe, right? A system is in place to control access of information and secure confidentiality. Like I said, it's very important to always secure those documents. Okay, let's go to 1.1.3. Okay, let's read this post for thoughts next. In most organizations digitize records with a sensitive or confidential nature and make it available under a login access to people who are authorized to access. So not everyone is authorized. And that is something that you need to be strict. Sorry, you need to be strict at, because you have at your workplace as an MA, you'll have friends, right? But then you need to make sure that as much as you're friends with those people, they cannot. If the manager or the CEO is giving you an authority for certain documents, and you need to guard against sharing that information with anyone, because that may make you lose your job. So it's very important to make sure that you only log into system that you're authorized in, and also you need to make sure that you keep people away from those systems. The physical records are stored at a safe and secure place and will be available on demand to the people authorized to have access. It explains this itself, right? Okay. 1.1.3, record utilization. The most important aspect in the filing and indexing system is access and retrieval of a document. So it's the reason why there's an index system is so that people can access and retrieve those documents. Because it does not make sense for you to just keep documents that will never be accessed or retrieved. So you need to make sure that when you file whatever, these days technology, is popular, right? So we need to make sure that even if it's a cloud system, whatever that is, you need to be able to access and to retrieve those things. You need to know that whatever file that you put on your cloud, you know the file name or the document name. Not guessing, because going into there, let's say maybe there's the CEO of the company is here and they need a certain document and you're still trying to remember how you filed that document, that's not going to help me. So if it means you need to have a diary to keep those file names or whatever, so be it, but then make sure that that diary is safe and no one can access it. Now, what is an indexing system? It's basically just organizing documents and creating a space for those documents in a way that it's easy for you to retrieve and access those documents. An effective indexing system should be in place for quick and accurate retrieval of active files. When using a numerical filing system, the DEX index is closed at the hand for quick access to information on the index card and guide card are being used. And guide card are being used every 10 to 20 folders in a cabinet. But likely those who will be using, maybe when you're working in a medical system, you need to be able to be quick at doing that, because maybe they'll be needing 5 or index cards at the same time. Are we together, guys? Was anyone keeping time? What is the video saying?
13:57.
Oh, so I'm left with a minute. Okay, so storage and retention. Before determining which record to retain, the next step is to classify the documents according to their value to determine the storage time for the specific file. They need to be classified. Like I said, not every document is important, right? So here they're classifying. Vital record, it means very, very important. I'm not going to go into the explanation, you go and read. Vital, the word, it's in the word, it means vital is very important. You need to fireproof it because it's a document that it cannot be reproduced or replicated. Right? Important records just above, below vital. They're also important, you can put them in a fireproof cabinet, or also file them. Important. Useful are those that you use mainly on a daily or maybe every after 2 days. So they will be in a safe place also, but very easily accessible. And the non-essentials, those documents that once you have used it, you can, maybe after 2-3 days, you can throw them away. After 3 months, you can throw them away because they're not going to be used again. The information that was there is just not viable anymore. Now guys, okay, let me just stop here. You will tell Mr. Lebilo that we stopped at page 162. Né? So again, thank you very much for giving me your time, guys. And good luck with your, is it exam or test?
Yes.
Test. It's a mini exam. Before we get, do you have any questions? Do you understand? Let's understand. Né? Thank you very much.
Il pezzo peta buferesta per buferesta sta